It's the beginning of February, and you know what that means. We have January numbers for 2023. So let's see what's going on in the Denver market. Are we going up in price, down in price? Are the headlines living up to all the doom and gloom that we've been hearing out there forever? So let's just dig right in and see what's going on, see if it's a good time to buy. Is it a good time to sell? How are we looking? Okay, so what we're doing here is we're starting out with the average close price, right? That's what everybody wants to know. Is my house going up in value or down in value? And as you know, April of 2022 was the peak for Denver at 600,000 as the median closed price. And since then, we have just been trailing down by 5 to 10,000 every single month. And January was no different. The median close price in January was 520,000. Now, what does this mean? Is there anything significant to it? Well, the peak back in April of 2022 was really a lot of people paying 5 to 10% over list price. And so we kind of really quickly artificially inflated those numbers for a couple of months, and then boom, we went back down to reality. And then we've been just slowly trailing off as interest rates have gone up. But they've started to go down a little bit in the last month or two, and that has actually helped on the sell side quite a bit. We're just feeling a little bit more balanced out. But God, it's been such a long time since we felt balanced that we forgot that it takes 60 to 90 days to sell a house on average. Now, super significant here in January, and we'll see if the headlines pick up on it, because to be real, there's so many different places you can get statistics, and my favorite quote is figures can't lie, but liars can figure. But our average close price was 520 in January. Now, if we go back to a year ago, the average close price, or the median close price, was 525,000. So this is the first recorded month where we're going to show negative numbers year over year. That is highly significant. All right. Now on to new listings. As you all know, we're just a roller coaster. Winter months are the lowest time of new listings to hit the market. And you can see that we were no different in December. But look at this. In December, we had 2,800 new listings hit the market. In January, we had 4,500. We're looking at the last 3 years of data here. Let's go back to the maximum time frame. And this is pulling up the last 14 years of data. Look at how much lower our new listings to hit the market was in December. Kind of fascinating. We hit numbers that were below 2019, below 2018, below 2016. So, we haven't had numbers these low since about 2015. So it's been a long time since we've had that few listings come up out of the market. Now, the number of active listings, let's go back to a 3-year time frame. The number of active listings just keeps dropping. We went down to 7,400 active listings in January, down from 9,800 in December. So another 20% plus drop in the number of listings that are sitting on the market. So the inventory is just getting gobbled up. But this statistically is exactly what happens. We can go back and look back last 14 years of data, and we can see in these winter months, is always the lowest amount of inventory. February, January, February. So this isn't out of the ordinary, but what it looks like we're going to do is we might repeat 2022's number of low active inventory. And what is that going to mean for the spring? Because sales really start picking up in the next few months, and then come middle to end of May, they really kind of peak out for a bit, and then they start trailing off again. All right, number of pending listings. Ooh, this is interesting. So in December, we had 3,500. In January, we had 5,100 number of pending listings. Let's go back a year ago. Okay, so December, January, it peaked up. December, January, it picked up. Okay, so pretty much on the norm, but that's significantly more, 30-40% more properties went under contract from December to January. So that's going to bode well. If you're a seller out there, looks like activity is picking up. Closed listings. Now, as you know, this is the driving force of our price adjustments, seller concessions, and once again, we dropped in closings. Now, pending listings went up in January, so what I'm going to expect and anticipate is that closed listings are going to go up in February. Why? Because it takes 30 days to close on a property. But historically, we can also see January is the low, January is the low. January is the low for the last 4 years for the amount of closed listings. So, once again, not out of the norm, but our numbers are just so down there compared to 7, 8 years ago. It's kind of wild to see what's going on. Days in MLS, and we're skyrocketing. The average days on MLS today in the Denver metro area is 35. That's quite a while. 4 to 6 weeks is what we're expecting, and it feels like an eternity. Everybody mentally is okay with thinking like, okay, it's going to take 4 to 6 weeks to sell my house on average as long as we're priced correctly. And then it hits the market, and gosh, that first week, you feel stunted. You start questioning, oh God, did we overprice the house? Like, we're never going to sell this thing, and you start panicking a little bit. You need to have some patience. Let's look at the last time it was up this high. So 35 average days on the market. Last time we were at that number, was back in 2013. It's been a decade since we have had inventory on the market for this many days. Month supply of inventory, and this is what's a little interesting here, is that month supply of inventory just keeps going down. We had 1.2 months of inventory in January. A balanced market is typically 4 months of inventory. But with that being said, that was really the knowledge from 2008 prior, right? And nothing is the same about the market from prior to 2008. They've changed lending requirements. Home builders have slowed down. Our population growth in the country has slowed down. So is that common knowledge of 4 months of inventory is a balanced market? Is that outdated information? Is the new norm 2 months of inventory on the market is a balanced market? I don't know. If we keep on this trend, and we don't get a ton of listings on the market, we might set more records for the amount of inventory in our MLS. All right, percentage of closed price to list price. This is what are things selling for in comparison to what they're listed for. So if you're listed for $500,000 and you close at $495,000, you're going to be a 99% number. If you close for $505,000, you're going to be a 101% number. Now you can see, as we go back in April, we were closing at 5% over ask price in general. And now it says we're closing at 98.8% of list price, but this doesn't account for any price changes. So if you start your house at $500,000 and you end up dropping it down to $475,000, and then you close at $470,000, it's only going to reflect, about a 1% price adjustment on a chart like this. It doesn't take into account that you already dropped at $25,000. Price per square foot, I don't put much weight into this because price per square foot, the way they calculate it, isn't right. But it says that we went up by a few dollars per square foot in January. The amount of dollar volume of properties sold is down, just like the number of closing. The number of showings to go pending. This is an important number to know, especially if you're on the sell side. On average, we're getting 12 showings until a property is going pending, okay? So keep that in mind. If you have more than 12 showings, you're probably overpriced. And then showings per listing. So this ticked up a bit. So we went up to 8.1 showings per listings, up from 4.7. So 75% more activity in the amount of showings out there, which is phenomenal. So if you're on the sell side, what this is telling me is that if it takes 12 showings on average to go under contract, and we're getting about 8 per month, it's going to take 5 to 6 weeks for you to go under contract on average. Now, something else I want to talk about here that is not reflected in the numbers that we can see. We can see that prices are steadily dropping. We're down well over 10% now from the highs back in April of 2022. However, there's a number that you as the public cannot see, and that is called a seller concession. I don't think it's right that you don't have access to it through Zillow or Redfin or any of those. A seller concession is someone comes in, offers you $500,000 for your house, but says, hey, I need $10,000 in a seller concession to help buy my rate down so they can get a better rate. You say, great, it's been 3 weeks on the market, no offers in hand. Sure, here's $10,000 in a seller concession. So your house essentially sold at 500,000, but you netted 490. So that's a 2% difference in price that you gave them as a seller concession. And Redfin just came out with the article. I don't track this number closely, but I'm going to from here on out. And what this article is saying is that 42% of home sellers gave a seller concession in the fourth quarter of 2022. So what that means is that we're likely actually down another couple of percent. So how I'm coaching my clients right now is great. We think 500,000 and you've got to price it right. Pricing aggressively right now isn't the name of the game. We've tried that in the last couple of quarters on a few properties. And what we found is that unless it's a fire sale price, you're listing 20-30% below all the other comps out there, you're not getting that multiple offer, bid it up, sell in the first week sort of scenario. If you're pricing 5% below, like, it still might be 4 weeks before you get a solid offer in, and then the buyers are still going to ask for seller concessions, still ask for inspection items. So you're better off pricing it appropriately, but having an understanding that, all right, maybe 500,000 is a good appraisal price. We got plenty of comps to support that. Our low, shit hits the fan, we might be at 450, but after seller concessions, we're going to bank maybe around 475 is what we're going to expect for the actual closing numbers. So expect the seller concessions, expect the inspection items. And until interest rates drop, I think we're going to be in this same scenario for a while. We might go flat for a bit, but right now, my take on this entire market is that this is the first time I've felt things balanced in a long time. 2019, we had a few months when interest rates started going up that things started to feel a little bit balanced. This time, we feel quite a bit balanced. So if you're a home buyer right now, yeah, prices might drop a bit more. Make sure you can make those monthly payments and ride out the storm if we do drop down another 10% roughly. But it's going to rebound so quickly. Once things rebound, that's what people don't get, is that you can't catch the bottom, just like you can't catch the top. So don't try. Buy a home because you love it, because you want to move, because you need to move. Price your house accordingly on the sell side. Make sure that your agent is doing as much marketing as humanly possible, following up with all the showings. It's been a while since we've had to work really hard as agents on the sell side. And so now it's time for us to step it up. So it's easier for buyers out there. It feels like a good time to buy, at least that you can get into a house with seller concessions, not bringing as much cash out of pocket or appraisal guarantees, able to get inspection items checked off by the seller and negotiate on that stuff. As the seller, no, you're not making those peak prices that we did 9 months ago, but that's the way it is. You're still getting a great price. We're still up 25% from pre-pandemic prices. So if you bought more than 2 years ago, you're still in the black quite a bit. And if you love this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'm going to invite you to watch this video up here about why it's costing buyers 50% less in cash to buy today than it did a year ago. And until the next time, happy housing.